Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's Rio Rancho Mayoral Candidate Forum. Honored to be your moderator tonight, along with the Rio Rancho Observer, the Rio Rancho Regional Chamber of Commerce, and KDSK Radio. We have, throughout this evening, you're going to hear questions that have been submitted since we announced the forum almost a month ago. These are questions that we've gotten a lot of input about questions throughout the city from residents, so we have put those questions together. We're going to try to get through as many as possible. The candidates will have a 2-minute opening. They'll have a 2-minute closing. In addition to that, they will have, some of the questions are 2 minutes, some are 1 minute. If we have some questions, some time available, we have some lightning questions, which are basically yes or no answers, short answer, something very quick, because we have had so much response to potential questions. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and let's give a big round of applause for Rio Rancho Public Schools for allowing us to be here tonight. So with this, every one of these folks, they're all lined up because that's the number they drew. So first candidate for mayor, Mike Meek. Candidate number 2, Alexandria Piland. Candidate number 3, Zachary Darden. Candidate number 4, Paul Wymer. Candidate number 5, Corrine Rios. And we do have a 6th candidate, which just alerted me a few minutes ago that she will not be attending, and that is Aleitress Owens-Smith. She will not be here this evening. So, candidates, we ready?
Yes. Yes.
Sure. All right. Start off with our 2-minute opening. Mike Meek.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you, Regional Chamber of Commerce, for hosting us tonight. We appreciate it. I'm Michael Meek, and this is my Rio Rancho story. Back in 1990, I moved here from Pennsylvania with my wife, Rochelle. And when we moved here, Rio Rancho was only 22,000 people with a couple 2-lane roads going a couple different directions. And so we went on up to the AmRep Sales Center over on Southern. We took a look at the subdivisions. We took a look at the different lots that were available, the different plans of houses. And then you could sign documents, and within 6 months, you had a house. You were able to move in. And that was almost exactly 35 years ago. We closed on Valentine's Day in 1991. That's when we became the residents. Like my sign says, I've been serving Rio Rancho since 1994. And since all of you have come here to find out about the candidates, I want to give you my speed resume for the past 32 years. 1994, I joined the fire department for Rio Rancho. I was a firefighter. I was a fire inspector. I was a fire marshal. I was the deputy fire chief for 5 years. I was the fire chief for 7 years. So I served 25 years and retired from the city back in 2018. After that, I was elected in 2018 and 2022 to Sandoval Commission for District 3, where I've served for 7 years. 2 of those, I was the chair, and 2 others, I was the vice chair. I'm ready for this, and I'm looking forward to serving Rio Rancho. Thank you for coming tonight.
Next candidate is Alexandria Piland.
I'm going to fix this before we start. Okay. Hi, I'm Alexandria Piland. I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a retired teacher, I'm Latina, and a former small business owner. I'm running for mayor because I love this city and I believe deeply in the people who live here. Let me be clear from the start, I don't owe any favors to any contractor or developers. This wasn't an ambition, it's a decision rooted in duty. Voters deserve a real choice between the same old approach that hasn't worked for everyone and a future that can. I did not have filing for mayor in 2026 on my bingo card, but here I am. Because leadership means standing up when it matters most. Like so many families in Rio Rancho, I've balanced budgets at the kitchen table and worked extra jobs to make ends meet. I know what it's like to do everything right and still feel like you're being squeezed. This election is about what works for the people who live here in Rio Rancho. We may vote differently, worship differently, come from different backgrounds, but we all want the same things. We want safe neighborhoods, affordable bills, good schools, and a fair shot for our children. We're all on the same team, even if we're told to sit on different sides of the field. Right now, so many families are paying more than their fair share, especially for water. When people are choosing between groceries, gas, and utilities, that's not a budgeting problem, that's a leadership problem. I'm running to make sure Rio Rancho is affordable, not just today, but for our future, because a city that prices out its children is a city that's losing its soul. Thank you.
Our next candidate, Zachary Darden.
So I'm going to switch this up a little bit. If you'd like to bow your head with me, feel free to. Lord, I just want to thank you all for coming out tonight. I just want to thank you for giving us all this opportunity. And I just ask that, okay, sorry. Okay, this a little better? That a little better right there? That a little better. What about now? Can y'all hear me? I'll just talk loud if y'all can't hear me. Yeah, how does that now? All right, so let's restart. So, Lord, I just want to thank you again for just bringing us all together tonight. Thank you for all these amazing candidates here on the stage. Let us use our wisdoms together as a community to grow in your name. And I just want to thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen. So let's start with that. So, good evening, everybody. My name is Zachary Darden. I'm honored to be on this podium tonight, surrounded by such amazing individuals. I want to thank my family, my friends, my new wife in the back, for just because I couldn't be here without them. They are my foundation, they are my rock, and family comes first. I'm in this race for one reason, and one reason only. It's because I love this city. I grew up in this city. I love the people who live here. And whatever side of politics you sit on, I think we can all agree we want to keep the city of vision from turning into the city of division. I've dedicated my campaign to one slogan. This is a we race, not a me race. When we can get past the competition and focus on true collaboration, that's when real change happens. Because at the end of the day, the city should be working for the people and no other exceptions. I want to just thank the city of Rio Rancho again for letting me be part of this journey. For all you listening out there, use me as an example that you don't have to look or be a certain way to strive for positive change in your community. Because when you can look past worldly, physical, and mental limitations, that's when you truly bring the vision to the city of vision. So be the change that you want to see in the world. Thank you, guys.
Our next candidate is current City Councilor Paul Wymer.
Thank you, Jerry. Can you all hear me? Good evening, everyone. For those of you who have not yet had the pleasure to meet, my name is Paul Wymer. I've been a resident here in Rio Rancho since 1983, raised 2 children here in the city, both of who attended and graduated from Rio Rancho Public Schools. My wife and I have 5 grandchildren with 1 on the way. I am a registered architect, a certified planner, and I am currently as Jerry said, the District 4 City Councilor for the city. I'm currently also working at the UNM Sandoval Regional Medical Center, and prior to my serving on the City Council, I sat as an elected or as an appointed official on the Planning and Zoning Board for approximately 6 years. I'm here to talk to you about why I want to be mayor for the city. It's really quite simple. I believe things are working very well in the city. I think that we've got a good thing going here. We've worked really hard and we've worked really and strategically to make progress in so many areas, but we still have a few things to get done. I have an excellent working relationship with my fellow governing body members, as well as key leadership staff members like City Manager Geisel and City Deputy Manager Peter Wells. Those are critical components to getting anything accomplished in the city. There needs to be a collaboration between the council members and city staff to get things done. And I have that experience. I know how the process works because I've been doing it for 6 years. I bring with me the experience and real-world knowledge of city government, and what it takes to get something accomplished or approved or further evaluated, because I've done it. And more importantly, I know how the city budget works. It's a very detailed process, very critically important to our citizens. I'm proud to be endorsed by Mayor Greg Hull, as well as the fire union, and most recently, the police union.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Our next candidate this evening is Corrine Rios.
Hi there. Good evening, and thank you for being here. Tonight, I'm here to bring solutions to the one problem plaguing every aspect of Rio Rancho government. Residents have been shut out of their own government. We've seen legislation move forward with no elected sponsor, questions left unanswered at governing body meetings, the loss of independent boards, commissions, and committees, and no clear, accessible way for residents to track legislation online. We have also seen projects approved all over the city without traffic studies and water studies completed before a vote. All this gap is a part of our lack of due process, and this has to change. I will make sure we hear from our residents, not shut them out. I will sponsor a resolution to allow a citizens' inquiry at governing body meetings so residents can get their answers. I will propose an amendment to our rules of procedure to ensure that our boards, our commissions, and our committees are allowed to be independent from City Hall, just as our governing body organizational chart indicates. I will not allow any legislation to move forward without an elected official sponsoring it and presenting it, as our rules of procedure state. We need to enforce the rules that exist and amend the ones that aren't working for residents. I love New Mexico. I love Rio Rancho. It is a gem in the Southwest, and it's worth protecting. I am a native New Mexican. I've been in Rio Rancho for 17 years. I have a master's degree in elementary education, taught in the New Mexico public schools, and I have homeschooled 4 out of our 5 children for 20 years. I am a mother of 5 and a grandmother of 10. I am running for mayor to fix what is broken and restore transparency. Thank you.
We're about ready to start the questions. A couple reminders. First things is if you know someone that's not here tonight, they can hear this live on KDSK radio right now throughout the state of New Mexico. From Arizona to Utah to Colorado to Socorro, it's on the radio right now. In addition to that, it's being live streamed live by the Rio Rancho Observer.
Facebook and YouTube.
What's that?
Facebook and YouTube.
Facebook and YouTube. And then finally is after this event on the Rio Rancho Regional Chamber of Commerce website, as well as the Observer site, you'll be able to rewatch this again, shall you want to learn more, or share this information with voters. As we all know, early voting started today, and the election is March 3rd. So we're looking for a great turnout for voting. Tonight's questions will be asked by the Rio Rancho Observer. They'll be asked by the chief editor, Tracy Goldenson. As my name, if I haven't met you, Jerry Shallow, President and CEO of the Rio Rancho Regional Chamber. I will be moderating this, make sure everyone stays on time, make sure we can get through as many questions as possible, as quickly as possible. Please keep your applause. Please applaud at any time you like for any of the responses, but let's not get out of control or anything else. Rio Rancho's always been great about that.
Okay.
We have a great city. All right, so that being said, we are all ready to go, and the very first question is coming right to Alexandria Piland.
Okay, and I'm Tracy Goldeisen with the Rio Rancho Observer. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight, both the public and the candidates themselves. And we're going to start with the first question. It is a 2-minute question, and it is regarding water. The city has faced criticism over rising water and sewer rates and frequent water line failures. What is your specific plan to stabilize utility costs for residents while modernizing the aging water infrastructure?
Thank you, Tracy. It's a question that I know is top for all of the residents here. It's top of our minds. we are having huge issues. I've heard of $200, $300, even $400 a month water bills, and this is unacceptable. We're pricing people out of one of the things they need the most, right? So I know that there have been at least 2 major water main breaks, and I've also heard of patching, repatching, repatching water main breaks in neighborhoods, in my neighborhood and other people's neighborhoods. So this is huge. But I think we need to take a common sense approach, and we need to start looking at what it's costing us to patch over and over and over again, as opposed to just fixing it maybe the second time the patch breaks. So that's number one. The other thing I want to make sure that we're doing is that we are recycling our water. I did take a water tour maybe 2 years ago, and so I did see that we have pretty good water, but I know there's some people who are concerned about it, and we need to make sure that we are transparent with the testing that's happening with the water. I know we get the newsletter from the water service in the city, and I would like to make sure that we continue to do that and make it accessible for everybody to get on the website, wherever they need to see it. So a common sense approach to refitting, repurposing, and I also think that we need to make sure that growth pays for itself. As far as water is concerned, we want to make sure that we're not having to put additional funds into new pipes. We want to make sure that Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandria Piland.
That's a fast 2 minutes.
Past 2 minutes. All right, Zachary Darden, same question.
Yes, sir. So can y'all hear me okay before we start? All right, beautiful. So water is our most precious resource we have here in Rio Rancho. Despite our name, Rio Rancho, meaning River Ranch, we have no surface water existing in this city. We're completely dependent on the Santa Fe Group aquifer. So it's imperative that we do everything we can to protect that aquifer, because this co-aligns with the utility costs that we're facing. So there's 3 ways that we can be doing that as a community. And number 1 is making long-term plans for our water. So that means 20, 30, 50-year plans for our water. I don't agree on everything that Albuquerque's doing as a city, but one thing that they have in check is they have 100-year water plans. Why don't we have that here? Especially with us being one of the fastest growing cities in the Southwest. That needs to be key. The second thing is we used to have what was called a Utilities Commission Board here in Rio Rancho. And that was a very important thing, because one of those things that it did is it had people who specialized in not just the quantity of water that was being extrapolated out of the aquifer, but the quality of that water. So when we have these main breaks and we don't really know where water is going, that's where these bills, that's where these prices are starting to come from. So we need to be reestablishing boards like the Utilities Commission Board. The third thing that we could be doing is trying to make sure that we are doing a full review on our wastewater treatment plant. We need to make sure all of our injection systems are functioning, and not just functioning, but accepting new technology. We're in 2026, y'all. There's no reason we should have equipment at our wastewater treatment plant that is over 10 years old. We need to be elevating with the times, and we need to be doing full reviews on that so we make sure that we can keep our water not protected for future generations, but the current people that live here in the city of Rio Rancho. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to Paul Wymer.
So regarding water rates, let me talk a little bit about that. Every community has unique challenges when it comes to water rates, and Rio Rancho is no different than every other community. And some of those issues that we need to deal with are things that are out of our control. For example, the state engineer requires that the city purchase a certain quantity of water rates. They are very expensive. We are mandated to purchase those rates at a steady rate. We do have a surplus of them at this point, but we continue to go out into the marketplace to purchase more. Other components that impact rates that are out of our control: electricity charges. I hear every day about complaints about how high people's electric bill is. City's no different. Chemical costs. The mandated chemical treatment by the federal government, not saying that's a bad thing, but those chemical costs since 2020 have doubled in price. We've got to pay for those or not have a utility. So let's talk about the increases. To account for those increases, I have been a proponent of gradual annual increases. I know no one wants to hear increases, but I think that's a better approach than no increases for 5 years and then a 15 or 20% increase at one fell swoop. So that's kind of been my strategy as we've moved through the process. I heard a little bit about the water reinjection system. I want to talk a little bit about that. Look, this is not new technology. It is new to New Mexico and it is new to Rio Rancho. We are the first community to reinject wastewater into the system, but it is thoroughly cleaned before that water is reinjected into the system to drinking water standards. Then it is introduced 1,000 feet above the aquifer so it can filtrate down through naturally doing more filtration. And if or when it is pumped out for it to become drinking water, it is further treated to drinking water standards. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Same question to Corrine Rios.
I don't know if I even remember the question. Can you repeat it?
The city has faced criticism over rising water and sewer rates and frequent water line failures. What is your specific plan to stabilize utility costs for residents while modernizing our aging water infrastructure?
Thank you. Well, I agree with everybody here on this stage, but I will, when I get in there, I will sponsor an ordinance to bring back the Utilities Commission. We need people who are expertise to help our city understand what is needed to run this government. Also, I do not agree with 5-year automatic water rate increases. It happened in 2019 and it happened in 2025. Did you guys know that? Till 2029, your water rates will continue to go up without representation at the governing body meeting. We need maybe to even look at separating the water from the city. In Albuquerque, I know nobody likes to talk about Albuquerque, but their water is separate from the city. It's a specific, separate entity. They are solely on their own. They have a board, and they are experts in the field. I would suggest maybe we start looking at that. Thank you.
Finally, Mike Meek.
Thank you. I think we need to start trying to schedule some of the replacement of the polybutylene that was put in here before all of us moved here. And it needs to be scheduled when work's being done in different areas around the city. And hopefully the volume of work being done will bring those costs down so we can replace it while the crews are already in one location as opposed to moving around and relocating. I believe we need to have expert utility oversight. I think we need to look into desalination methods. That's something that's getting more and more popular. We have one down in Los Lunas now that is being test-driven. But we have a lot of water to the west of us, but it's heavily brackish, so we really need to find a way to get the salt out of it. We need better well monitoring systems, which could improve long-term water management so we can keep track of where we're having the problems. We need water rate transparency, long-term financial planning, and ensuring capacity before approving growth. Right now, we make about $60 million in income off of the water, and our expenses for it about half of that, 30, and then we have about 10 million in reserve funds. So I'd like to see the numbers behind that. What is the big discrepancy? We have big savings for emergencies, but we need to balance that with the work that needs to be done now. And then look at customer charges, fees, and interest income from bonds. And the water bills, that certainly is something that everybody deals with and continually raises every single year. I think it's time to get a grip. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike Meek. All right. Zachary Darden, you're the first one to go with question number 2.
Okay. This question is on public safety, and it's a 2-minute question. What does the city of Rio Rancho need to do to increase staffing levels while also attracting and retaining public safety officers to ensure the city of Rio Rancho remains the safest in New Mexico?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, let's just thank our officers for the incredible job that they're doing right now. Thank you. At the last State of the City report in December, there was a statistic that was given that 97% of residents felt safe in the city. Now, I do agree we have an incredibly safe city here, and that's why a lot of people want to live here. But what we're starting to see here is this kind of snowball effect that's happening, where we're having crime start to infiltrate from the outskirts of our city, and it's working its way inward. So there's three things that we can be doing to stop that. By number one is let's just focus on the broken windows concept. When we have these structures and we have abandoned buildings that are full of weeds, graffiti, things like that, that starts showing that our city is not really prideful in what we do here. And once again, that starts inviting the wrong energy. So we just have to start there for number one, is we got to clean up our city and make it look beautified to keep out the wrong energy into our city. Number two is we need to be giving our officers the direct support and resources that they need to do their jobs. I have a lot of friends that are officers in the city of Albuquerque, and they love what they do, but the one thing that they always say to me is that they don't get the support that they deserve. And when they're arresting career felons and they're back on the streets 2 days later, how is that going to have them want to continue to not only do their job, but to attract new officers to the game? So we have to be giving them the support and the resources that's necessary. The third thing that we need to be doing is also making sure that we are building trust amongst our Sandoval County sheriffs and our Rio Rancho Police Department, as well as our Santa Ana PD. We're all around the same area of this centralized New Mexico, and there's no reason why our departments don't trust each other. We have to learn to be able to build that rapport against those three agencies to make sure we accomplish the same goal of making Rio Rancho that 97 percentile in safety rate. So thank you.
Same question to Paul Wymer.
Thank you, Jerry. As my opponent, Mr. Darden, just noted correctly, the last citizen survey showed that 97% of the citizens feel safe in this city, and that is because of the outstanding work of our police officers and the cadets that they're training along their side. I've voted to support budget approvals for new state-of-the-art equipment, for upgraded facilities. A new Fire Station 8 is scheduled to break ground this year. It's going to be over there by the movie theater at Unser and Southern. I've been in favor of new response vehicles, emergency response vehicles, and new police positions. And last, we've recently reopened the Fire Station number 6 in Mariposa. I will also continue to support the bond questions, which you will see on March 3rd, that it's in part for public safety, which does provide funding for additional vehicles, whether they're fire engines or ambulances or police cars. Most of the folks in the room and most of the folks who know about the budget don't realize that 50% of the city's budget goes to public safety. That's probably the way it should be. That's good, because that's the people we need to keep in those spots. I had a meeting with the police union not too long ago, and I got an earful about compensation, about whether or not we are fairly compensating them. I had further discussions with the city leadership, and I think that's an area that we need to work on, and I've agreed to work on that with the union folks as well as the city leadership. I was listening earlier when Councilor Tyler was talking. I believe he has similar goals, and I'd like to work side by side with him. Again, even though this is a weak mayor position, the council makes the decisions. I'd like to work with Councilor Tyler to see that move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question, Corrine Rios.
All right, I think we all just need to decide if we want public safety or not. Do we want to be safe in Rio Rancho? And if the answer is yes, we need, number one, is to get more policemen on the streets patrolling. And we need to give them higher pay raises because they're leaving because other cities are more competitive and they're making more money. We need police on the streets because they act as a deterrent to crime. And when you go through Rio Rancho and you get pulled over for a speeding ticket, that's for a reason. That is for a reason. They catch more people with a stolen vehicle or with an arrest on their record. We need more police officers patrolling the streets and maybe not so much camera boxes. That's what I'm in favor for. I am also in favor for working with different agencies. If you really want to be safe in Rio Rancho, we need to allow our police to work with different agencies, whether it's federal, whether it's state, whether it's Albuquerque, to get criminals off our streets to protect your family. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to Mike Meek.
Well, first, I hope everybody will support the $4.4 million in bonds that will help keep the best equipment for our people in the fire and the police. They need to have the very best equipment to do the job. We have top quality people working here. With this all comes a price. We don't want crime coming up the hill. It's the #1 issue down below, and we're going to need more people. We have to recruit and retrain first responders. We need to include competitive pay. But to do that, we need to have economic development. If we do not get meaningful, wage-impactful jobs into our community, we will not ever have the extra money to pay like the other places surrounding us. We cannot always be behind. We want the professional staffing, the training. We want career progression. But we have to have money coming in, or else we are going to have some very, very difficult choices that will need to be made, where we will have to choose between public safety and our other comfort items that we have here in the city that make us one of the top cities that people want to move to. So I would say economic development like the Castilian project, which we just got through, 300 high-paying jobs, $100,000 a year. You know, we need jobs like that where people can stay in the community and pay for items in the community. We're not going to have enough if we don't start that now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike Meek. All right, final for #2, Alexandria Piland.
Thank you, Jerry. Public safety is foundational to the quality of life. We bring people in at an entry level. We train them. It costs us money. They get experience, and then they go down the hill, or they go up the hill to Santa Fe, or they go anywhere else where they can make more money in this region. And that's not acceptable, because that costs us money every time we train somebody. We need to pay a decent union wage to our firefighters and our police officers. That's it. We need to make sure that they have the equipment that they need to do the job. $4.1 million of bonds for trucks and ladders and emergency vehicles is great if you have the people to use them to help us. I've lived in Rio Rancho since 1996, and unfortunately, I have had to call 911 more than once. And I have been in a car accident, I've had to go to the hospital, and every time emergency responders in Rio Rancho have showed up at my door, and or at my accident, whatever, and they have been professional, kind, reassuring, and I knew they knew what they were doing. They were wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And we need to make sure that we keep them and they get paid what they're worth. We have growth. We have all this growth happening. We know, you guys all saw in the Observer, that the fire chief, the current fire chief, said if something happened out at that new place, that the plan was to let it burn because there weren't enough people to take care of it. So we have to make sure our public safety stays up, can compete, or can support the growth in our city. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're moving on to our next question, and Paul Wymer, you have the first question.
No.
No, I went first last time. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
No, you're good.
Paul Wymer, you have the next question.
Okay, and this one is on the development process manual. It is a 2-minute question, and it might take me that long to get through it. Rio Rancho's Development Process Manual, or the DPM, guides everything from road construction to residential and commercial permitting. As the city continues to grow, builders and residents have raised concerns about rising construction costs and the length of the permitting process. If elected mayor, what specific changes, if any, would you propose to the city's development and permitting process to reduce costs and timelines while still maintaining safety, quality, and community standards in Rio Rancho?
Thank you, Tracy. The Development Process Manual was last updated in 2012 before the most recent update that we just finished getting through. That update required extensive updates with many, many clarifications, many of which will add benefits to future residents. And I say future residents because that's some of the tweaks we've made to the language in that document. For example, depending on the size of the community that is being proposed, the new Development Process Manual language requires parks to be included in those developments. That approval process took 2.5 years to get through. It was 2.5 years of study, meetings, and data gathering. There were 33 public meetings with stakeholders conducted, and changes were implemented based on those discussions. To answer your specific question, Tracy, the updated manual is a living document. We will always need to be updating it, and so we will go back to it when we get through, or when we start implementing it, and we get comments from the end users, which are typically the developers or the home builders. We can go back and tweak it, and we can learn from what works and what doesn't work and what needs to be done better. And I can assure you that we will hear from them because they are very loud, and it is their money. And quite fairly, if it's their money, it's going to trickle down to the home buyer. It's not that the developer is going to just absorb that. So that is my response to the Development Process Manual question. Thank you, Tracy.
Okay, thank you. Same question goes to Corrine Rios.
Well, gee, I wish I knew as much as Paul, because you're so smart and you've been here for longer than I have. But I just want to give it a little broader response. This is our comprehensive plan. It was done in 2010. This comprehensive plan gives the long-term vision for how we should grow, from land use, water, transportation, and neighborhood protection. These two, the comprehensive plan and the development process manual, go together. And if we haven't updated this in 15 years, this is probably outdated as well. And one area where this is outdated is there's no traffic studies or water studies done before development goes up. 15 years is a long time. Rio Rancho has changed in 15 years. We have more residents now using more water. We have more traffic. I think we ought to update this comprehensive plan so that we can have a better accurate development process for development here in Rio Rancho. Because if you don't have traffic studies or water studies when you're voting for a big development, you're like voting with half the information. Who buys a house and doesn't get an inspection? We need these updated, and we need these updated ASAP. Thank you.
Thank you. Right back to Mike.
Well, with 502 pages of how to do something in the city, I'm hoping that we can implement some type of AI that will make this more efficient for everybody trying to use this. We have businesses involved and people coming in, submitting plans, they're reviewed, and then comments will be made. They get plans back, they do adjustments to them, they bring them back, and then a new set of items will be listed as needing to be performed. There needs to be a way where there's constant communication for your specific project. I have a friend who's building a house, and every day he's not sure who's responsible for the next communication. Is it somebody at Planning and Zoning, or is he supposed to give somebody? He knows he gave them paperwork, but has it been approved and now he's moving on? We just have to make it a little bit more user-friendly. There's a lot of direction about what has to be done, but there's no coordination on how that can get done for the consumer, the business, or the individual who is building something here in the city. I will tell you that as I was walking around this week, I met a man, and he's got a yard, and he told me they put in for a shed, and they told him that a shed had to have the same structural finish as his house, which was brick. Now, you can't see into this gentleman's backyard, and you certainly don't think that it matters what his exterior looks like to anybody. And yet, there is no way to say, yeah, maybe all of these rules are not relevant to every single person that's doing something of work here. Thank you.
Thank you. Alexandria Piland.
Thank you. The development process should be clear, fair, and focused on protecting our community while helping businesses, existing and new, to succeed. Predictability and clarity matter for residents and businesses. I was speaking to a new business owner in our community, and he was telling me how long and drawn out the process for approvals is for him to open his business. And it shouldn't be that way. We should have a streamlined service that helps them. And I have an idea for that. I think we should have a concierge service for businesses so that we can help them maneuver through this 502-page of regulations and ordinances so that they can be in compliance with the law, not waste their time waiting around trying to figure out who they're supposed to contact, right? I updated my HVAC system last summer, and I had to wait 2 full days for an inspector to come out and put a green sticker on it. Now, that's ridiculous, right? Fortunately, I'm retired, but what if I had to take time off from work? That would be money out of my pocket, right? That shouldn't be for anybody. We should have a way to streamline this service, somebody who can maneuver through the goings-on in the city, through planning and zoning, or any other department they need to get through to streamline the process. We don't want our growth to outpace our infrastructure or services, so we may have to look at hiring another inspector or two. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, Zachary Darden.
Absolutely. So thank you for this question. Let's just be realistic here. How many residents even know what the development process model is? I did a small case study and I asked people, do you know what this development process manual even is? And about 80 to 90% of people I talked to didn't even know that this manual even existed at all. So that's the first problem we're seeing, is just that lack of transparency, that we basically have an instruction manual here in Rio Rancho that shows how we do stuff, how we manage our sewer water, how we manage Parks and Rec, how we manage public safety, etc. But as Corrine said over here, life in New Mexico, life in Rio Rancho, life in the United States of America has obviously changed very much since 2010. Now, the thing about that is what I'm proposing is, number one, that we obviously need to be doing a full review on this development process manual and make sure it's keeping up with the current times. That's just number one. The second piece to that is we don't have the water in the city to support AI. So what we can be doing with that is by making QR codes that are present around the city that people can scan, that number one, that they can just see exactly how this manual operates. But with anything that people need to learn how to operate, we need trainers. The city needs to be providing service to train residents how to actually use the development process manual and how things actually work here in the city. The other thing that we need to be doing is we need to be increasing transparency and public trust and involving y'all, the community, in actually updating this manual. It shouldn't just be the city council, the city manager, the mayor of Rio Rancho, people that are just, once again, coming up with ideas based upon engineers on how this works. We need to be involving y'all because we have a lot of talent in this city, and it's time that we start acting like that city council is above the common folk of Rio Rancho. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next question goes right to Corrine Rios.
Okay, this is a 1-minute question, and it is on government transparency.
My favorite.
Regarding open government and transparency, what changes, if any, do you think need to be made with the city's media policy to ensure open dialogue with the press and residents and that IPRA requests are lawfully being fulfilled?
Wow, that's a big one for 1 minute. Let me just piggyback off of Zach here. We have a development process manual committee. Did you know that? I didn't know that till today. It's not transparent. It's not on the website. This is what we're talking about, transparency. If we had more online access to information, we wouldn't have to do so many IPRA requests, and the city wouldn't get so mad at us. We need more things transparent. One of the first things I would like to do is implement a bill tracker system online. Now, Liberal Albuquerque has one. The state of New Mexico has one. The national level has a bill tracking system. When you go look for an ordinance, and who sponsored it, you have to go to the meeting, and then you got to go to the agenda, then you got to go to the minutes. It is absolutely mind-boggling how we are not transparent with our ordinances that affect residents every day. I hope I answered your question. We need more of it, and I will put forth ordinances to make transparency online a priority for the residents.
Thank you. Mike Meek.
I remember 3 subjects in the paper that there was questions about transparency, and it seemed that the articles went on and on until management from the city was able to interject their view of what was occurring. Certainly, we need to have transparency. I'm not sure that all the paperwork that gets filled out that says that Rio Rancho is the most transparent city, I don't know how you get to that, so I would have to look into that. But for me, the government transparency I want to hear is why this summer, somebody from city management, during a city council meeting with a city-issued phone, called the local newspaper to talk about why Michael Meek and what should be said about him running for mayor of this fine city. So that's the transparency I would like to find out about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike Meek. Next up, Alexandria Piland.
Thank you, Jerry. Transparency isn't optional, it's how trust is built. Clear communication builds public trust, and I will subscribe to an open door policy. You can contact me, you can contact the city councilors, that already exists. But you also need to be able to track what's going on in the city in a more efficient manner. It's challenging, shall we say, to maneuver through the city's website, and that needs to be fixed, and that needs to be fixed quickly. Regular community engagement depends on this. If the citizens don't know what is happening in City Hall, how can they become involved and engaged? Thank you.
Zachary Darden, same question.
So let's just start with this. A house divided against itself cannot stand. We need to become the city of vision, not division. I said at the beginning of my statement, and what I mean by that is because transparency isn't just about access, it's about understanding. So let's just use our governing body meetings as an example. For somebody that's new to politics, for somebody that's new to business, for somebody that's new to professional language, it can be very hard for people to understand what is actually happening in their city. So that's the first thing we need to do is we need to be making our governing body meetings understandable to somebody with a high school diploma or somebody with a PhD. We need to be making sure that our government officials are being present in the community. Actually, I did a case study, and about 80% of the people that I talked to out of that 100-person poll said they don't even know who their district counselor is. That needs to change. So, and I know that this is a very loaded question. I have 8 seconds left, but once again, the house divided against itself cannot stand. I'll leave it at that, the end.
Finally, Paul Wymer.
Thank you, Terry. The city follows all federal and state requirements for transparency, and in many cases goes well above that. Let me give you a couple of examples. We require 2 readings of any new ordinance that is introduced. That's not required. 1 meeting is required. We publish those meeting agendas 7 days in advance. 3 days is required. We publish those meetings with full agenda items and all the detail that will be a part of the request. That's not required. In addition to that, we issue a quarterly newsletter that gets out to the community any information that we feel is important and that the public needs to be made aware of. We have annual council meet and greets at local parks and gathering places where each city councilor attends and the mayor is typically at, as well as every city department. If you have a question about your water bill, if you have a question about your sewer, whatever, you can come talk to them. And then finally, the mayor has a weekly podcast on KDSK where he spreads more information. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so next question comes right back to Mike Meek.
Okay, this is also a 1-minute question, and it is on GRT leakage. Approximately 62% of Rio Rancho residents leave the city each day to work elsewhere due to limited jobs, and these impact lost revenue from GR funds being spent in the city of their employment. What would you do to attract business to Rio Rancho?
Well, we've been trying to recruit businesses to come to Rio Rancho, but it doesn't seem like we're always getting to have our top product be forward. People come here looking for a place to do business, and as we've heard, sometimes it takes a long time to get projects started. It takes months sometimes to get an answer. I think that the economic planning that we need to have is to get the Paseo del Volcan built. We have industrial lanes across both sides of those, which will bring more business in. We're involved in a transnational transportation line that's going to be coming through here. And we need to show people that we're going to build a highway structure so that when they come, they can deliver their goods to elsewhere in the world and in the United States. So I would think that we could work a little harder at getting them here. Thank you.
Thank you. Alexandria Piland, same question.
Thank you, Jerry. Rio Rancho loses revenue when residents shop elsewhere. And I, for one, am tired of driving into Albuquerque, even just to Costco, to get the things I need. I would prefer to spend my money in our city. In fact, I think I'm the only person up here who bought all of my print materials for my campaign from a union shop in Rio Rancho. Okay, so I believe in keeping money here. I think that what we really need to focus on is the businesses that already exist here. We have some great places. The problem is we're spread out all over the place. That's an issue. But some of the businesses, we have Business Fridays for my campaign, and we go around and we check out all of the businesses in the community. We're going section by section, and it's amazing. There are things, I've lived here for 30 years, there are things I never knew were here that are fabulous and fun. And we turned out at the, thank you.
Thank you. Zachary Darden, same question.
So I'm kind of build on that a little bit too. Like, we have a lot of great businesses here in Rio Rancho. We have people that, once again, are doing amazing things every single day to make our community better. And how many people know that some of these local businesses exist? So number one, we need to be supporting the businesses that are already here in Rio Rancho by, number one, marketing those. Why does the city's website not have a list of all the local businesses here in the city? That can be where we start right here. So we feel that we're not only supporting these businesses, but we're actually showing residents here in the community what is here. The second thing that we can be doing is just asking the residents what they want to see here. And what I've been told is that they want to see more entertainment. About 90% of people I've talked to over the past month have said Rio Rancho is a sleep and go or a boring city. So we need to be attracting entertainment to our city. Why don't we have any zoos? Why don't we have a museum? Why don't we have any art galleries? I mean, once again, like, people are always going to go out of state or out of city or out of country to do things if we're not providing that here in the city of Rio Rancho. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Paul Wymer, same question.
The question was centered on gross receipts tax leakage. When the state mandated gross receipts tax collection on internet sales, we made great progress in that area. That money that we collect on internet sales is earmarked for safety and roads, and in fact, retail sales are about 20% of the city's GRT, and in 2025, that amounted to approximately $70 million. Efforts to bring new business to the city and reduce trips to Albuquerque have included working with the SEA, with the Chamber. The city has also hired a new business development manager whose focus is that very thing, as well as assisting existing businesses on expanding, growing, or doing better in their business that they are trying to work and keep here in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Corrine Rios.
Well, I didn't know what GRT leakage was. Sounded kind of ominous. Did my research, and I've been living GRT. How many of you have GRT leakage? If you go to Albuquerque, you've got GRT leakage. And we can do business, but what about a small convention center to host conferences, weddings, Comic-Con, Legos? We have the balloon fiesta. Why can't we do something with all of those visitors that come here for the balloon fiesta? Sorry, I'll step back. I get a little excited because I'm a stay-at-home mom for 20 years and we always had to drive to Albuquerque. So then we'd stop over there and get dinner. We'd stop over there and get a gallon of milk. We'd stop over there and get gas. We need something here smaller. We love the event center, but sometimes that's not so affordable for a big family. We need something small so that we can go to, my husband and I can go to a Spanish guitar performance without having to go to Albuquerque because he doesn't want to drive all the way over there. And then we have to stay home. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so you all made it through the first 5 questions plus the opening. Now we're going to flip the script.
Oh.
Next question comes right back to you, Corrine.
Oh, geez. Let me get
That
the
excitement.
All right, this one is also a 1-minute question, and it is regarding charter review on city governance and charter structure. Rio Rancho currently operates under a council-manager form of government, often described as a weak mayor system, where the city council sets policy and a professionally appointed city manager oversees day-to-day operations. Would you like to see this form of government continue or change it to a strong mayor system like Albuquerque?
I think I'd like it the way it is because the mayor also has the ability to introduce and sponsor ordinances. So it's not, to me, it's not a weak mayor. He has the ability to do that, and I will do that. I will sponsor ordinances and resolutions, and I will stand behind them. I will present them, and I will be responsible for them. So I think the system works. We just got to do it better. Thank you.
Mike Meek.
I think the system is working. I have no problem reviewing and updating the city charter to reflect current government's needs or improve checks and balances. We should prioritize ideas like modern ordinance tracking, election rules, and more importantly, the separation of powers in the city. We need to strengthen the council management form of government to ensure accountability and clarity in all of those roles. Currently, the charter, I am not for anybody being able to vote as an elected official to change it. It certainly should be looked at the entire community and voted on in an election. Thank you.
Thank you. And I said flip the script, and then I didn't follow my own rules. Paul Wymer, you're up next.
Oh, you went to me.
Thank you, Jerry. Going to a strong mayor system like Albuquerque? Absolutely not. You know how messed up Albuquerque is? We've got a good thing going here. We're not going to change that. And if we were decided to go down that path, changing the charter requires voter approval. The next opportunity to do that would be in 2027 for the 2028 ballot. That process typically entails putting together a citizen panel, and then they bring to the governing body recommendations. But like I said, we're not going down that path. So that's my take on whether or not we should go with a strong mayor system. Thank you.
Thank you. Zachary Darden, same question.
I'd also agree with that too. We don't want to go down roads we can't come back on. So let's just start there. But let's also define what our city charter even is for the people out there that don't know. Our city charter is kind of like our local constitution that we have here in Rio Rancho. And a lot of people don't know that that charter exists. So once again, what I would propose is making that charter very transparent on what it is in the first place. And we also need to be looking into clarifying roles and limits of power between mayor, city council, city manager, so residents always know who is responsible for the decisions and the outcomes of the city. The other thing that we need to be doing with our city charter is making sure, let's say if I was elected as mayor, is making myself present, making sure that I'm in my community, and also making sure that I'm reachable, that people can call me, that people can email me, and I'm present in the city of Rio Rancho. So I think, as we always say, if it's not broke, don't fix it, but we can always grease the wheel, and I think that's what we're going to be doing with this city charter.
Thank you. Alexandria Piland.
So the city charter exists to protect residents and guide responsible leadership. Currently, the city charter is working quite well in our city. It provides structure and accountability, and we need to make sure that we follow the charter and respect its intent. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next question comes right back to Paul Wymer.
Okay, this is a 1-minute question on everybody's favorite topic of roads. Would you continue to count on the permanent fund and road bonds for road improvements, or do you support raising taxes to pay for road improvements?
Thank you, Tracy. I heard earlier from one of my fellow counselors about the most common question that we get every day, and it's the condition of the roads. In 2014, there was no money allocated for road repair, none, zero. That changed when Mayor Hull was elected, and it has remained consistent, and I will keep it consistent, so we have a budgeted amount that we can continue to whittle away and fix the roads. I'll also always support the bond question, which again, there's another opportunity here on March 3rd, where a bond question on road repair, road improvements will be up for vote. Those are the biggest areas where we can make progress on roads and where we've actually accomplished things. Well, we've actually built or repaired about 51% of the residential roads in the city and done 43 major roadway projects at a cost of $200 million. And that includes the cost of replacing the utilities below the road, which makes sense, rather than putting a new road on old utilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Zachary Darden, same question.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So last time I had looked, only about 9% of the general fund, which is how most things are done here in Rio Rancho, was allocated toward roads. So 9% is a pretty low number, at least in my honest opinion. So what if we just even increase the number to 11%? Imagine the amount of roads that we could repair in our city, including a lot of roads that aren't even paved at all. And here's the thing about our unpaved roads is we could even be getting those roads on a more consistent grading schedule. Has anybody ever driven down King Boulevard and your car's about to rattle apart? It's time that we need to start actually looking to turning our Wild West town into a more modernized town, and which is what we need to be striving for. The second piece with our roads is NMDOT, the New Mexico Department of Transportation, offers huge amounts of money for grants toward our roads. So why is Rio Rancho not seeking those? And I believe that it's time for us to start seeking these state grants in order to repair our roads permanently, not patches.
Thank you. Alexandria Piland.
Wow, 70 million in internet sales, gross receipts tax, and a lot of that goes to repair the roads. I live in the 49% that hasn't been fixed yet. Just going to tell you that when I drive my truck down the road, it's not good for my truck, right? It adds wear and tear to my vehicle, and it winds up costing us more money. However, I am not in favor of raising taxes for this. I think we need to look at the process as it exists and try to find ways to streamline it and cut costs and increase efficiency. Those two are not polar opposites, and I think we can do it. We are smart enough in this city to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Meek.
As we're moving forward in extending the Paseo del Volcan out, we've obtained monies from private industry, the state, and the feds that will take that road out another 3 miles. The city's the fastest growing in the state, and it's the relationships that we have with our senators and our state representatives that is going to help us get more funding. Just like Project Ranger, when everybody saw the value of that, everybody stepped up and became engaged. Department secretaries, the governor, we have to plead our case. We have to have a better story at the state level. We have to look at funding older neighborhoods as well as the more traveled roads. And we also have to look at the work and let neighbors know that we're coming to help them so that they know how long it's going to take to get in their area. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, Corrine Rios, same question.
All I know is our roads need work. I live in a cul-de-sac. They came over to fix the main road, but they didn't go up my cul-de-sac. Why? I don't know. There's something there. This past weekend, I was in a cul-de-sac, going door to door to meet my neighbors, and I guess I took my eyes off the road and I fell in a crack. Our roads are horrendous. And I don't know all the ins and outs. I don't know the schedule of which ones have been repaired. I don't know that yet. But I agree with Piland. We need to figure out a way to do our roads without increasing taxes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next question's coming right back to Zachary Darden.
Okay, this is a 1-minute question under the accountability category. The new mayor's salary will be the highest ever at $97,765. What is your availability as a full-time mayor from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily and weekends if elected in order to justify this increased cost to taxpayers?
Here's the thing I'll answer with that question. I work for y'all, y'all don't work for me. So the thing about it is if I need to be present at 7, I'm there at 7. If I need to be there at 8, I'll be there at 8. I mean, to be frank with you, I've lived on $12 an hour for more hours. So as mayor, one of those things about it is that I want to work for you. I want to make sure that I am being the best possible candidate and making sure I'm sticking true to my promises. And if I'm not, that's when I need to be held accountable as mayor, as well as every other city councilor and every other person that is working in City Hall needs to be held accountable when things are not being done that they say that they're going to do. So I'm a man of my word, and one of those things that I agree on that is that we all need to say and do what we say. That's just a general statement of life that I've learned. And once again, every single person can say one thing and do another, and I think it's time for us to change that narrative and make sure that we're doing exactly what we're doing or saying for the people of Rio Rancho.
Thank you. Alexandria Piland.
As your mayor, I will be available between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, plus weekends. Full stop. Thank you.
Next up, Mike Meek.
Well, as a retired and county commissioner, I already do that. So yes, I will be available. The mayor is the chief governing officer. It says you have to be available. You are the CEO. You have to be out working with businesses. You have to be available at all times. It says it right in the job description. So I don't really have anything that goes against that. Thank you.
Thank you. Corrine Rios.
Wow. You know, I have a family. I have a life. So I wish I could stand up here and say I'll be at your beck and call at 12 o'clock midnight. But that's just not reality, because my husband would get a little upset with me. But I am willing to put in 8 10-hour days to work for you and have an open door policy, because I am not a career politician. Career politicians do that, not me. I have a life outside. So I'm willing to do and work hard and work my butt off when I'm sitting in there in City Hall or when you call me on the phone. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul Wymer.
As District 4 City Councilor, that has been my policy, to make sure to respond to my constituents. I don't always pick up the phone immediately, but I will return your call. I will return your email. You may not like the answer that I give you, but we will have a conversation. That has been my policy. It will remain my policy going forward as mayor. Thank you.
All right, next question goes to Alexandria Piland.
Okay, this is also 1 minute, and it is recreational facilities. Does Rio Rancho need more city facilities for recreation, parks, walking areas, or other quality of life offerings?
Absolutely. Absolutely we do. I love the idea of the multi-generational center. I think that's a fabulous start. I've actually been to some in Albuquerque. You know, that's not a popular thing to say, but I think that it will bring the community together. I walk in my neighborhood and I cannot tell you, again with my roads right? There aren't a lot of walking paths, and I see people walking every day, the same people, a lot of people. So we need to make sure that we're helping our residents to stay safe on walking paths, and there's some fabulous things to see here in our city, off the beaten path and on, and we need to make sure that people know about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Meek.
Well, Rio Rancho does have the best parks, the best libraries, and other services. We need to not micromanage our management and let them do the job that they get paid for. They're doing a fantastic job. We should utilize all of our facilities to maximize the enhancement to parks, recreation, cultural opportunities, and community events. But we also should be collaborating with other agencies, not just the city. We need to partner with other people so that these fields and buildings get used regularly. You can't build them and sit idle waiting for people to come and hang out. I'm in favor of baseball fields, just like the Santa Ana soccer fields where they have tournaments. I think that'd be fantastic to have tournaments come out here. So I would say that recreational facilities and community center projects make our city in the top 25, I'm sure, in all of the polling that goes on. So I do believe that we need to keep at least where we're at and move towards betterment. Thank you.
Thank you. Corrine Rios.
Could you repeat the question?
Does Rio Rancho need more city facilities for recreation, parks, walking areas, or other quality of life offerings?
Yes. Yes, so I'm going to just add on to that, but to another question. That was the pay for the mayor. I hope you all know that when that ordinance was passed, 2018, it also included an 8% cost of living increase every 4 years for the mayor. I don't know if you know that. Automatic, every 4 years, 8%. How many of you get 8% at your job? Just saying. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul Wymer.
I've always supported quality of life projects, and I can give you some examples. There's a new community center, a recreation center, and pickleball courts in Enchanted Hills. We've completed the first phase of the Broadmoor Senior Center. The second phase is under construction now. We've completed both phases of Campus Park, a beautiful facility, and as many of my opponents have mentioned, we're in the process of gearing up for a multi-generational facility that will be built near Rockaway and Northern. It's a very expensive facility. We'll have to do it in phases, but we're going to seek funding from the state and from federal agencies to get that going. We've also replaced much of or a significant number of playground structures on local parks, and also recently added new lighting to the ball fields on High Resort Boulevard. And I will continue to support the bond question for quality of life amenities, which again is coming up on March 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Zachary Darden.
Let's just start with this right here. We do have some incredible recreation facilities here in the city of Rancho. So I just want to shout out Parks and Rec for doing an incredible job right now as a whole. So I currently work for Bernalillo County's Open Space Department, and what we do here at Open Space is that we preserve and conserve lands for future generations while also allowing programs such as wildlife programs, tracking workshops, hiking clubs, things of that nature that get people out in the outdoors. And here in Rio Rancho, what do we have directly west of us? A huge open West Mesa with a ton of land out there that's not being protected right now. So here's the thing. Parks and Rec and Open Space are the same department in the city of Albuquerque. And I'm not saying that they're doing the greatest job right now, but what I'm proposing in Rio Rancho is opening up an Open Space department looped into Parks and Rec and make sure that we're getting people in the outdoors and teaching them about conservation while also enjoying this beautiful mesa that we have west of us here. Thank you.
Finally, as I mentioned, there was more questions. Lots of folks had different questions. We could not get to them all. So now we're going to do a quick blitz round. It is a really short answer, generally a yes or no on these questions. So we got to run through these quick because they were important enough for a number of folks to inquire about them. Are you ready?
Sorta.
All right, Mike Meek, you're on the clock first.
Okay. What nonprofit nonprofit, civic, or community organizations have you been involved with over the last 4 years or currently?
Well, I've worked with Loving Thunder, helping contribute to their projects with their horses. I've worked with the Haven House, thank you very much. Worked with Haven House and the CASA, where the children's parents are taken away from them and they're left to just fend for themselves, and there's nobody of any authority with them anymore.
Okay, thank you. Corrine Rios.
Repeat the question.
What nonprofit, civic, or community organizations have you been involved with over the past 4 years or currently serve on?
I don't serve on any. I have my own nonprofit organization that I founded in 2024, Flesh versus Spirit Ministry, so I do a lot of work there, getting that going off the ground. And I just don't really belong to anything. People need help, I just go help them.
Good stuff. Okay, Paul Wymer.
I, too, am not a member of any organization, but I will tell you that my favorite organizations to support are any nonprofit that is assisting animals that are either homeless or struggling and need help. Thank you.
Thank you. And Zachary Darden.
So I'm actually working with 3 currently right now. So let's talk about Talking Talents Youth Leadership. So what they're doing right now is they're teaching youth how to be leaders and better people in their community. And that's something that it starts with, is our youth, because they're truly the foundation of how this country's going to grow. I've also am working with Cottonwood Gulch Expeditions, which is teaching kids how to camp, how to go outdoors, learning how to hike, taking them to beautiful places around this state that they might not ever see in their backyard. Some of these kids are very underprivileged. Some of these kids have never been on a trail, and I think that that's another important one that I'm very happy to be working alongside. The third one is Rocky Mountain Youth Corps, where I actually used to be an alumni of, or I guess currently am an alumni of Rocky Mountain Youth Corps, and that's just, once again, doing the same thing like Cottonwood Gulch and Talking Talents are doing, which is bringing up our youth. Because as I said, I used to be a kindergarten teacher, and when a kid looks at you with hope in their eyes, it's hard to forget that look. And I think it's important that we start with our youth, because they're going to be the foundation of this country in generations to come.
Okay. Finally, Alexandria Piland.
Well, most recently, I started volunteering at Storehouse West, but for the past 5 years, I've been heavily involved with Feed Rio Rancho Kids. I'm very angry and saddened that there are children in our community who go home and don't have anything to eat over the weekends, and so this group packs food for children to take home over the weekend, shelf-stable food, so that they don't go hungry. So that's my most favorite charity. Thank you.
All right, next question goes to Corrine Rios first.
Okay. And this is a yes or no. Would you support making Rio Rancho a sanctuary city?
No.
Paul Wymer?
No.
No.
Yes.
No.
All right, next question goes to Paul Wymer first.
Okay, this is another for or against. Are you for or against the speed bans and the new speed camera boxes?
Well, that's a tough question. I guess I'm generally in favor of them, although I would strongly encourage that we consider putting it up to the voters. That's really the way that should have been rolled out, and it hasn't. So we will move forward with some of those conversations.
Thank you. Zachary Darden.
I would be for them if I knew that revenue is going toward the city. That's where we need to start. If the revenue is going toward the city, then yeah, I'm in support of them. If it's not, absolutely not.
The revenue goes to Tempe, Arizona, and so that's not a good, I'm against those boxes. Thank you.
Michael Meek.
In general, I'm against them because I've had to pay 4 tickets in my household.
All right, and then Corrine Rios.
I am against them. I don't think they deter any crime at all.
All right, next question goes to Zachary Darden first.
Okay. Do you think impact fees should be charged for new business development and or new housing? So do you think businesses, residential, both, or none?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Do you think impact fees should be charged for new business development and or new housing?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, but I think it should be reevaluated. I think $20,000 of impact fees on one home is excessive.
Green?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes, at a fair rate.
All right, I'm going to throw one more question in here that was out here. It's a simple yes or no, or it could be a simple yes or no. All right, who did that first one first? All right, Alexandria Piland, you're first. All right, this next one is data centers have been in the news. Would you support a data center near Rio Rancho or in Rio Rancho?
It's not a yes or no. I heard there was going to be was going to be put up over off of District 1 in the part of Rio Rancho that's in Bernalillo County. As long as it is not impacting our water source, yes, it's fine. And I heard that this particular data center was going to have brown water circling through and coming back into our aquifer, so we get credit for it. So I am for that.
Thank you. Michael Meek?
I would have to know how much money we were going to obtain for taking on a big project like that that's heavily using utilities. Thank you.
Corrine Rios?
Yes.
Okay, Paul Wymer?
Yes.
Absolutely not. I mean, once again, as I said before, we're completely dependent on the Santa Fe Group aquifer, and data centers use, once again, a water bottle per surge. So if we're putting in a data center in the middle of the desert, that's not going to help our future generations, so absolutely not.
Okay. One last question that came up. Let's see who answered that one first. Alexandria? Michael Meek, you get the last one. This is from the audience today as well. Doesn't appear that anyone is monitoring parks on a daily basis in Rio Rancho and keeping dogs on leashes or making sure that the parks are safe on a daily basis. Would you support adding additional staff to ensure that the parks are monitored?
I think that we could probably do that with some type of visual aid, maybe with some cameras, that we wouldn't have to have somebody out running around.
Okay, thank you. Corrine?
I like that, Michael. I think also if we had police patrolling the area, they could do that very easily. I think we need to start enforcing some of these things. I was walking the other day and a dog chased me down the street, so yeah, we need to start enforcing some of our rules and regulations.
Paul?
I would be in favor of adding staff as the budget allows. That has been the issue all along. I receive calls regularly on dogs running loose, people not picking up after their dogs. By the time I get in touch with the Parks and Rec director and she goes out personally to see what's going on, the dog's gone. So.
Zach?
I would say this is part of the reason that I'm proposing the open space department, not only to do monitoring on this situation that we're having, but number two, be collaborating with our local PD to make sure that, people are safe, because I've personally been bit by a dog in the park, and I don't want that to happen to anybody. So, yes.
Okay. Alexandria?
I do not want our police patrolling for stray dogs. I think we need to figure out a way to monitor these, and I actually do like Michael's idea also.
All right, thank you. All right, so those are all the questions that we have today. I know there's a number of other ones that we couldn't get to today. We are out of time. So we have a 2-minute or less closing, and we drew random numbers, so it's not going to be in any kind of order. So who drew the very first closing for today is Alexandria Piland.
Lucky me. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Jerry. Thank you to the Chamber, thank you to the Observer, and thanks to the audience and everybody who's listening or who will view this in the future. I just want to reiterate, this position isn't about power, it's about leadership, it's about service to the community. This campaign that I'm running isn't about left and right, it's about top to bottom. It's about dignity and fairness, and a city that works for all of us. So I just hope that we have given you some food for thought, and that you would talk to me if you have any questions, especially about my response to ICE. I don't want citizens being murdered in our streets. I don't want them being shot in the face or shot 10 times. So
Bring it down, bring it down.
So I think our city is better than that, and I thank you all for your time. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. All right, next up, who drew number 2? That was Corrine Rios.
Oh, well, I drew number 2. What you've heard from me tonight is not ideology or ambition. It's a commitment to transparency. I'd like to hear her.
Shh. Please bring it down. Let us get through the closing.
Can I start over?
Yes.
Thank you. What you've heard from me tonight is not ideology or ambition. It's a commitment to transparency, accountability, and due process for us, the residents of Rio Rancho. This is the work I'm committed to doing, and I know how to do it because I've pored over the city charter. I've pored over the rules of procedure for the governing body and for the boards and commissions. I'm running to serve, and I will do the job right. It's time to fix the foundation of our city's government, the plans, the processes, and the rules that guide our decisions. I will be a one-term mayor, and I will be honored to take this journey with you, and I respectfully ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Drawing the third closing is Michael Meek.
I'm the only candidate here tonight that went to the 2 most important meetings in the past month. The first was right here, when all the state legislators and senators came to hear from the city, the county, the school systems, and nonprofits to find out what they needed in terms of non-discretionary funds that they could hand out. The second one was the groundbreaking, which was Project Ranger, the biggest economic development in the state since Intel. Pretty important stuff. We're at the point where we're going to have to choose if we're going to have meaningful wage jobs come in here that will keep people spending their money in town when they go to lunch and when they go to dinner and when they get their gas. That's the problem. 70% of the people are leaving here and spending their money elsewhere. I've continually tried to improve my skills over the last 32 years, and I'm going the best I can for this community. I believe now is the time, and I am the best choice to lead us into the post-Hall era, and I hope you agree. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, number 4 is Zachary Darden.
What would you give up for the people who followed you? Also, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? Who will go for us?" And I say, "Here I am. Send me." Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to give up our selfish ways and our desires for the benefit of this community and this nation. It is time we look past our differences, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, and learn to use our strengths to truly grow strong for the better future of our generations to come. I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm an expert in everything, but what I will do for you is become an expert in finding the experts and making sure that I hold true to my word and I hold true to my values. And I just thank you guys for allowing me to stand on this opportunity. I've never ran for anything in my life. I'm 28 years old. But I'm going to bring the energy to Rio Rancho that it needs. And I'm going to bring the leadership to Rio Rancho that it needs. And I'm going to bring the transparency to Rio Rancho that it needs. We need to continue to make this city the city of vision and not the city of division. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Closing out the closing statements is Paul Wymer.
Thank you, Jerry. I want to start by thanking also the Observer, the Chamber, and of course, KDSK Radio. Thank you for putting this on. I also want to thank Rio Rancho Public Schools for this great venue, for such an important forum. But most importantly, I want to thank those of you that are in this room, those of you that are listening, that are residents and that will be voters. Thank you for attending. Throughout the evening, you've heard from five of us up here. talking about why we want to be the next mayor of Rio Rancho. I want to applaud all of my opponents. This is a huge commitment, a huge commitment. During my opening statement, I shared with you what my qualifications are and my reasoning for wanting to be mayor. I'll remind you of my direct experience with city government in today's world. I'll remind you of my professional background and years of experience in both the public and private sectors. My commitment to Rio Rancho can be seen by my longevity here, raising my family here. My service to the city as a planning and zoning board member, as well as a city councilor, tell you a lot about my dedication to the city I've called home for 43 years. We have a wonderful city here with so many wonderful things to look forward to. We receive national recognitions. For example, best places to live for families, best places to retire, best places to live in the Southwest. It's also obvious by the positive responses we get on our independently conducted citizen surveys. 90% feel safe here. 90% rate Rio Rancho as an excellent place to live. 94% say the quality of life in our city is excellent, and 93% rate the quality of service, of fire service as excellent or good, and 83% rate the same for police. Rio Rancho is doing things right and being recognized for it. I want to continue on that and expand with the services as your next mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, once again, thank you to Tracy and the Rio Rancho Observer team for having this streaming online. Thank you to the staff and team in the Rio Rancho Regional Chamber. Thank you to KDSK. Most importantly, thank you for the venue, to Rio Rancho Public Schools. You guys are awesome. And let's give one more round of applause to all the candidates for being here tonight. As a reminder, voting started today. It'll expand next week for early voting, and get your vote in by March 3rd. Thank you.